layoff. The layoff, the layoff, the layoff. I mean, look, man. It's been a long time since we've seen Keith one-time Thurman in the ring. It's been a long time since we've seen Danny Garcia in the ring. But there's some other guys that's been sitting for a while. Guys like Erislandy Lara and Eminatas Staniois. Two guys that's going to be facing two of the previous guys I just named. And Keith one-time Thurman, Danny Garcia. But before we continue, man, make sure you hit that like button for your boy. We on Bushido Boxing. This is where we're going to be for the remainder of 2023. But Danny Garcia, man, 17-month layoff for Danny Garcia. Last fight we saw him was against Jose Benavidez at 154 pounds. In my opinion, Danny looked really, really, really good in that fight. And I think he should have carried that momentum and that energy to the next one, right? You got to carry it to the next one. Nah, he's got cold again, right? He was hot in that fight. He looked good. He looked sharp. But now he probably cold again. He's been sitting around for 17 months. Then his upcoming opponent, the champion, Erislandy Lara. 19-month layoff for Erislandy Lara, the champion, the middleweight champion, who's going to be facing Danny Garcia at 155 pounds. 155 pounds for the middleweight title. Both guys been out of the ring for over a year. Erislandy Lara is closing in on 2 years. Right? I can't even remember the last opponent Erislandy fought. It's been so long. Was it Thomas Lamana or something like that? I can't even remember. It's been that long. And then not to mention, Erislandy Lara is 40-some years old now. And he's been sitting out. Right? And then we got Keith one-time Thurman. Our boy, Keith one-time Thurman, right? We haven't seen Keith in a ring since his fight with Mario Barrios. That was 22 months ago. Literally almost 2 years ago. 2 months shy of 2 years. So by the time he hopped in that ring again, it would have been 2 years since he last fought. Keith Thurman, guys like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, 35, 34 years old now. They're close to, they're the halfway mark, right? They almost halfway to 40. And they've been sitting out for over a year plus, bro. I find that criminal, right? And then Eminatas Staniois, the youngest guy that we're going to be talking about here, right? 20-month layoff. Now, he had an injury, right? But he had a 20-month layoff. Can't find anybody, nobody, anybody want to fight? John Boots Ennis, anybody? Come on, man. You know, he was supposed to fight Virgil Ortiz, but Virgil Ortiz got sick, then he got sick, then Virgil got sick. I mean, so it's really not Eminatas Staniois' fault that he's sitting around. I can't really blame guys like Erislandy Lara neither, because if you've been following Lara's career, he's been having a hard time getting notable names in this ring throughout his entire career. To the point where he said, you know what, I'm going to just grab my lunchbox and just go to work. I'll fight whoever I can fight. Erislandy Lara always had a hard time getting opponents in the ring. And he's still damn near having that hard time today, right? But Danny Garcia, Keith one-time Thurman, shouldn't have any problems getting anybody in the ring. These are the two more notable guys here we're talking about. Two of the more, one would say, accomplished guys, popular guys, and they can't get no fights. Can't get anybody to fight? Anybody? Nah, I think guys like Danny Garcia, extremely selective on who he's stepping in the ring with. Guys like Keith Thurman, extremely selective on who they step in the ring with. Guys like Keith Thurman needs tune-ups and everything else before he gets in the ring with anybody with a post. But Erislandy Staniois, he has a post, right? And Keith Thurman gonna have to hop in that ring with that guy, tune up or not. Why? Because this is the end of the road for Showtime. And they cramming all these fights on one card, it seems, right? And guess what they taxing us for? They taxing us on this. Now, mind you, I don't mind paying for stuff like that, but you got to kind of look at it. You got to kind of look at it like, okay, we haven't seen these guys, right? Almost 2 years. We haven't seen these fighters. Some of these guys had wide spots of inactivity. Actually, some of these guys like Keith Thurman, been off longer than he's been on, it seems like. But they charging us $85 plus tax to watch some guys that we haven't seen in almost 2 years, bro. No TV presence, no nothing. No mainstream presence, no nothing. Now, as hardcore boxing fans, we see these guys here and there, especially Keith. He's been at the fights lately, trying to campaign, trying to do his get back tour, whatever he is he's been doing. Guys like Lara, he's at the end of the road. You don't see too much of Lara these days. Danny Garcia, he got a lot of things going on outside of boxing. You see him here and there, you know. Danny just don't seem, he seems very nonchalant. It seems like he don't care. And Erislandy Staniois, well, he's just a young fighter that's waiting for his world title shot, right? It's not his fault he's sitting around. 20 months is a long time for a young guy to be sitting around, though. That's almost 2 years. Almost 2 years, bro. Not working. Could you imagine you doing what you do, right? And you just sitting around for 2 years. Come on, bro. But I think a lot of these guys are content with sitting around. Guys like Keith Thurman want this and want that to fight. It's so many guys available for guys like Keith Thurman. Why? Because Keith Thurman is one of the names, one of the former champions of the division. Guys like Danny as well. There's plenty of guys that I'm sure will line up at the door to fight him. But those guys are very dismissive of fighters, and those guys have no problem turning down a fight. But the fight that's coming up, they're going to have to be ready for it. All these layoffs and wide spots of inactivity, man. The number one killer for a fighter's career is inactivity. And now guys like Terrence Bud Crawford, who was on the outside looking in, has passed these dudes by. When you're sitting around for so long, especially when you get in your 30s, especially when it's crunch time, the sport will pass you by. And one may say the sport has essentially passed these guys by. Now, luckily for them, they well off and made a lot of money for themselves and things of that nature, right? So finances shouldn't be an issue. But as far as the sport, man, they leaving a lot to be desired. And for them to be going out the door, right? Showtime, be closing up shop. They hitting us over the head with this ticket of $85 for some fighters that we haven't seen. It's crazy, but hey, look, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The card is very interesting. Why? Because we know these names. However, will they show up? How will they perform? I mean, it's been a while since we've seen them. And if you're looking at it from a business aspect, right, let's take us hardcore fans out of it because we go support regardless. We go watch it regardless. But if you were trying to get the casual audiences involved with boxing, they're doing a terrible job of doing it. The people need to see these guys, right? Mama Shido loves Danny Garcia, fan of Danny Garcia. She used to see Danny Garcia on TV. She don't see Danny no more. Haven't seen him in years, right? So it's crazy to just, like, what, we miss you tour, welcome back, pay-per-view, we miss you pay-per-view. I mean, what you gonna do? How you gonna sell this shit to the people for $85 for some people that we simply haven't seen? Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.